So let's just do this. Let's hope that this is a nice long series for us here. On Automaton for map number 1. Already 2-0ing Neeb and 2-0ing Maru. We have our red Protoss on the bottom left hand side. Jinair Green Wings Trap. On the top right hand side, our blue Zerg is Dark. He's also won his first 2 series in the group so far. 2-0 after taking down, of course, the wonderful Lenok and the wonderful Lambo. So his EVZ seeming good, but I'd say Trap so far pretty impressive to take down both Neeb and Maru especially. Now Trap had some very close calls in the qualifiers for this event where he got so close to actually qualifying from the online section. Instead he didn't. He ended up having to play through the open bracket, which he got through with relative ease. He had a little bit of trouble against Bly, but other than that, it was a winner bracket advancement from him, so that was nicely done. As we have this probe head into the upper right side to have a little bit of a scatter around through and just of course check to see what Dark is up to, which is just a hatch gas pool, so not too much to see, but of course it can be very annoying on this mineral line as well. It's just going to be seeing the probe fighting and dodging and jiving and just forcing those drones to go off different directions. One drone already jumping into that extractor there. And again, some of these drones just forcing the probe of Trap to relocate a little bit. So the probe trying to keep on this mineral patch. Again, just forcing that drone to switch. It's very annoying, very frustrating. And of course, if you've got the APM to do it, which you do, because nothing else is happening in this early stage of the game, then you may as well go for it. Still going on right now. Queen on the way up in the meantime, so Queen coming in from Dark on the natural expansion. Third hatchery of Dark on the way down as well, as we see Overlord coming through into the main base. A few workers jumping into the gas here. And waiting to see what Trap's first tech choice will be. Obviously the common choice is a Stargate or some form of an Archon drop opening. Now Trap hasn't been afraid of playing aggressively today. He definitely played aggressively in that first game against Maru, a 7-gate blink all in. Let's see what he decides to bring out here against Dark. Stargate to begin with is obviously one of the more standard ways to open though. And it's one of those openers which just says, okay, I want to take a third base and so on and so forth, or I just want to stay very safe right now, I guess, more so than anything, but it does help you take a third base. But it can, of course, still turn into a little bit of aggression. Sometimes you see like a single Phoenix and then cut gas and just go for like a 7-gate charge all in or something. There's a few builds like that we've seen before. Obviously, there's a lot more macro-focused variants as well, such as double Stargate Phoenix and so on. As this Adept gets a few kills, nothing too crazy. As we see the probe, seeing that the third base is completed here. Not sure why this probe is hanging around. Should probably try and head home. As another Adept heads in and should just get one drone kill. Nope, not even, because the Spore Crawler placement was good. And the micro on the other workers pretty good as well from Dark. He does shade up into the main base. Still doesn't find much in the end. And Dark will be happy with his defense on that. Total facility in the wall off, so the Stargate will be followed up by further tech choices, maybe even just a single Oracle here in this game. He did build a Stalker, so doesn't necessarily need the Phoenix to shut down the Overlord. The Stalker will eventually do that. And with the robot coming up at this sort of time, Twilight Council usually joins it to go into the Temple Archives and get into Prism and Archon. They actually opts for the second Oracle. Interesting. A little bit of a delay on it as well. Didn't build it right away. Took a few moments, and he comes in, he gets a couple of kills, and Queen's able to push that Oracle out down the right-hand side now. Celestial coming up, we see this these couple of drones here from Dark continuing to get going as well. Now Robot Facility just finishing. Stalker sat in between the side of court and the gateway here. Zealot gets walked in as well. Trap still just moving around with this Oracle. Twilight Council is about to complete. Twilight Council complete. See a few extra gateways coming down as well. Stalker and the Zard able to keep away those couple of lanes. The Phoenix here pushing the Overlord down to the bottom side. And there are extra gateways coming through. There's the Temple Archives we were kind of expecting. And the Hydralus Den going in as well as the Oracles come through. Again, just a couple more workers killed, keeping Dark you know, on that production, you know, keeping the drones in production, basically, forcing them on the way out. You're even going to be seeing charge with this Templar Archives, and with 5 extra gateways, obviously it's a bit more of an aggressive route in towards the 3 bases. With 6 gates, you have a couple Archons, you can warp in some extra Zealots with it and really deal some damage. Especially against this Hydra base opening from Dark, who has rushed out that Hydra density since the left finished up. You can really abuse those builds, which are very vulnerable units that the Zealots can really take advantage of. Warp Prism is here, and this will be the High Templar warp in for the Archons initially. 2 Oracles just going to sit around this to make sure that no Zerglings or anything jump on top of the Archons as they morph in. So there's a couple of Oracles doing the defending at the moment, and now they'll go back to their duties. Probably defend the 3rd base as the Archon's ready to harass around. And the next 2 gates finish, a 6 Zealot warp-in will be available, so if you want to go for this, you definitely can. In the end, Trap built a Phoenix as well, as one of the Oracles did turn back for the Revelation, clean up a couple of those forward creep tumors. Let's take away some of that map control. There are 4 Zealots. Still missing a couple here, as we see the Phoenix now chased away to the side. Seeing the Hydras obviously gives him some info as well. Dark wants to take a 4th base, but these units are all so nearby. Drone goes down instantly. It did feel just a little bit hopeful, didn't it, as these Archons leading the charge forward. Zealots starting to come forwards as well. Ling's starting to run in from the right side. Here come the Oracles. Dive in with this. Already the Hydra's going down pretty quickly. Zealots going to continue charging through. Those Archons are really going to be able to deal a lot of damage here. No Baneling Nest just yet, so there's no real easy way to get rid of the Zealots, but the Hydra's going to be able to deal some damage now. The Archons, actually, one of them went the wrong way for a moment. That definitely cost him, and oh my god, now Dark gets the target on the Warp Prism. And with the Warp Prism going down, the Archon is left on its own to chase in for a couple of drones maybe, or anything. 7 workers killed, but Trap loses so many units. Dark will not try and capitalize with a push across the map. Instead, instantly starts up 12 drones. So not just going to, you know, stream more units out here. Will go for the macro follow-up, replace some of those workers that he lost and more. And go from there. Now down in the bottom left, a couple of Zealots, a couple of Archons pressing forwards. The Stalker going to be turned away by those Zerglings. Immortal just hanging out the front of the Natural. Probe reduced on the 3rd base as well. A couple more High Temple coming out. The Zealot about to pop in as well. Just Trap kind of getting that rebuild going here. It wasn't bad for him until he lost the Prism and the Archons. Like, if the Archons just get out of there, that would be amazing. You know, very good damage done. But the Archons are very costly. They're 2 units which have so much value throughout the rest of the game. And especially in a matchup where you really rely on trying to get a good amount of those higher tech units together to survive the mid-game. And a lot of your late game is those same units, right? So losing them is a real shame. As you see the Zealots, High Templars, Archons gathering together here. We see Zerglings from Dark coming down to the bottom side. Hydra's coming across as well. Not going to come into the bottom right side. Going to go pick off that Zealot. We see a couple of Archons pressing forwards. Going after some of these Hydralists. Flint's coming in as well. The Archons doing some decent damage so far. Zealots here. Good storms. There's a full-on surround from Dark in all angles. Oh my god. The storms were okay, but I mean, there's just only so much you can do when it comes to this amount of army coming in from 3 different angles. Well, I mean, again, now the Archons do get lifted up, and this time the Warp Prism gets out alive at least. High Templar forced to warp into an Archon rather than waiting for Storm, because he needs something that can defend right here and now. Drop a Lord for a few Zerglings on the top side as well. I like that. Not a huge commitment, just a little bit of something that can still take up some attention and get some damage done. Meanwhile, Dark's 4th base this time is up and running. Only 61 drones. Now he does seem to be done with making drones. Ling, Bane, Hydra, all that he's building that so far. There's this Overlord very slow moving in. It looks as though it's going to unload these Lings and then go back and grab some Banes. Nope, looks as though the Banes actually rallied in with the rest of the army. That's going to press the 3rd base. Needs to be careful of Storms though. The Templars don't have them yet, but very, very soon. Zealots in the main game cleaned up pretty quick. The Hydra's still pressing forwards. A couple of Banes going up already. The High Templar Storms need to hit the Hydras, get rid of these very fragile units that deal so much damage. Oh, but Banes from the top and from the right-hand side. Trap morphs the Archons in to try and save what he can. Obviously, Archons have a bit more health, so morphing them better than just letting the High Templar blow up for nothing. And he does get a couple Archons out of it, but there's still just so many Hydralists here. it's a struggle to imagine this is going to work out. The Lings in the main still didn't come back into play either, so Dark still had that as an option for himself, as he will pick up game number 1 of this best of 3. Okay, so first game goes the way of Dark, and we are going to be jumping into game 2 of this in just a few moments. Second game on Port Alexander getting started up as we speak. Apparently Maru's been defeated by Lenok. Now, as Lenok takes Maru down, that means mainstream will be going over to Maru versus Neeb here very shortly. And again, we're currently already in Dark versus Trap, but we do need that mainstream Maru Neeb series to finish before we can cast Maru versus Lambo. So we do just need Maru Neeb to finish up. No, I mean, we don't need it to finish up. I'm just letting you guys know roughly what our schedule is. But our schedule will be stretched out a bit and delayed slightly because we do need that mainstream to finish before we can continue on. Okay, so getting set to roll. As we are good. So Dark Trap game number 2. Dark leading this 1-0 so far. Okay, let's jump in. Support Alexander for our second map. We have to the bottom right hand side down a map. It is Trap. Just losing those Archons in the prison was the beginning, and then some good fights from Dark just around the map. And I mean, someone like Dark, if he decides to fight you after you make a mistake like losing 2 Archons, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult, and Trap just couldn't muster it together that time around. Let's see if he can bounce back in a game number 2. See if he's still going to try go for that 6 gate ways with the Archon drop before third base, or I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. You can just go 4 gates and expand. You can just go for the, you can just go for the double Stargate Phoenix. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of options in PvZ, so it's not like he's stuck having to try the same thing. As we do have to the top left, our blue Zerg player. This is Dark. Drone pops down, a spawning pool off to the side as we do see. Well, that's actually is a forge on the way down already from Trap. Sorry, I was just reading Shadow Moments, seeing you guys discuss a little bit, a couple of different bits and pieces, but never mind that. This is going to be a cannon rush from Trap on the natural of Dark. Something he will see in a moment, but a bit too late to really respond to extremely effectively. I mean, that cannon comes up, the pylon will come down to block this area off as well. And this cannon is now guaranteed to finish, basically. So it's not really able to do much. Another cannon on this low ground. At this point, I think it's Dark. You just cancel this hatchery. Don't waste too much time. Maybe pull the hatch down and just, well, pull a drone down, put a hatch down here. So you're still expanding pretty quickly. It's not super committed from Trap either. His gateway is back at home. He is going to drop the Nexus as well, so it is going straight in towards an expansion. As Dark will throw down a Roach Roar. So playing just the 2 bases, gets that Roach Roar nice and early. We'll see what he does with this. So we'll have to break out of these cannons in the pylon. And the Roaches obviously can do that with morphing into Ravagers. Corrosive Bowels are very effective, although we'll need a second gas for that, currently only on 1. May want to set up something of a counter-attack too, but I'm not sure how quick that's going to come, as Dark does have a drone here. May be looking for a hatchery. Yeah, he's going to proxy a third hatch. Okay, then. Alright. Well, what he could do here, a couple of options off of this hatchery. Spine crawlers, push creep forwards, and then spine crawler rush the front with roach support. Or it could just be to reinforce with roaches on the side of the map of trap, and so that attack will continue going along very quickly. You see right now that this Queen's trying to get in range of that pylon and will be successful. Probe coming in for high ground vision though, and the Queen pulls back pretty quick. Dark has pulled a drone forwards but decides not to commit with it. Ah man, so Trap has no idea about this proxy hatchery here. A little bit unfortunate. There was something that came out, and that drone had to dodge away to make sure it didn't get seen, so that was good control. As you see, this drone going to be seen. Now, Trap might just assume that's a bit of a mistake more than anything. I would, but I'm pretty sure it's actually going to be for the spine crawler. Couple probes, by the way, end up going back home because this pylon now broken down. The Ravagers and the Roaches able to break out of this little contain. And there is that drone that was, you know, for Trap maybe mistakenly taken across the map. Well, let's see what happens now. Trap sees there's no hatchery down here. I think you've got to start worrying. He does realize, like, where on earth is the hatchery? 2 cannons, shield battery starting, spine crawler instantly builds here from Dark. And there's Roaches, Ravagers are starting to go across the map, even making a few Zerglings with the Ling speed. Obviously wants to flood a few Zerglings through. If you bust through the front door with the Lings, with the spine crawlers, the Lings obviously then flood through and generally get good surrounds elsewhere. So here we go. We've seen a couple of Ravagers dealing some damage, and a couple of shots off on the Stalkers. Another Ravager coming forwards as well. The first Ravager is actually pretty low already. He has to back away. Be really careful because keeping every unit alive, especially a Ravager, can just sit really far back and throw Survival. It's really important to keep up here. As we see the crew spread coming forward so you can get that spine crawler into position. Warp Gate is going to be completed. That's a very big upgrade in this situation, of course. That Ravager also being saved. Great control by Dark, keeping those Ravagers when needed. And there goes the spine crawler on the way up. Queen coming forwards. It would much rather have shots on the Queen than anything else. Queen is quite tanky as well, as you see the Crows files dropping. Well, Forge goes down pretty quickly. The next stage of this is going to be that gateway, and Immortals come forwards. Oh, just has to be careful. I mean, I know there's shield batteries and so on, but don't want to go for this too quick, and that's actually going to be a nice little corrosive bile area. Hitting biles right here and hitting the shield batteries and the cannon at the same time is really sick, because we're going to be seeing the cybernetics core also under fire. I mean, Dark obviously completely all in with this, but it's a lot of stacked defense from Trap to try and put up a fight. Will, however, lose one of the shield batteries, and again, every little bit you pick away at right now as Dark makes this eventual push through that much more successful. Biles on the cannon is always really nice as well, because then you're getting the shield batteries to spend energy healing it back up, and it's almost just like guaranteed way to kind of drain shield battery energy. It's very effective actually, as you see the Lings, the Ravagers, ready to push on through. There's so many shield batteries here, but 2 of them out of energy completely. This one's going to start being drained. The cannons are already pretty low as well. Losing this pylon, well, one of these shield batteries is actually now empowered, is a really good time to go for it. When this cannon goes down, the other shield battery that had energy left over goes down. I mean, Immortals at the front can be microed by the Warp Prism, but this is the time to go from Dark, and I completely agree. It's the best moment. That shield battery just now coming back online, though. To the top side, shield battery drained of energy. The Lings get a full surround and trade very well. A couple more corrosive files. That Warp Prism is so low. The Queens will kill the Warp Prism. No more Immortal micro. No more pickups. No more drop back downs. Lings come in for the surround on the Immortals. One Immortal already super, super low. And the Ravagers continue to fight right here as the Queens hanging out. We see the Immortal is just going to have its barrier popping back up, but it will go down. And Dark looks as though he's broken through here on the natural expansion. More Lings and Ravagers coming up this ramp to shut down the rest of this. Corrosive bile on this pylon and the Robo facility. That Immortal will fall down as well. I mean, this is it, right? You shut down this pylon and everything's unpowered. You can't produce anything else. The Zealot even gets cancelled, and GG is called. Trap taps out as Dark takes game number 2. Alright, so Dark able to take the second game of the series just like that. Wow. Very powerful. Very powerful as Trap is eliminated from well, not eliminated from competition, but takes his first loss of the day. So Dark will move up to being 3-0. Trap will move down to being 2-1. Lenok, Maru, both 1 and 1. Sorry, Lenok and Nee both 1 and 1. Maru and Lambo are both 0 and 2.